Hi, my name is John Elison, and this is my story, A Cut Above the Rest. Now, to start, it might surprise you all, but there was a time when I still had hair. I was 4 years old, and sitting in my room one evening, I could hear my parents talking through the door. Wah, 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 wah. Car payments, wah, wah, wah. Taxes. And then they came to wah, wah, wah. John needs a haircut. Now, I was taking karate classes at the time, and my karate dojo was just around the corner from the barber shop. I know this because every time we drove to class, I could see the spiral barber pole. And it was my grandfather's barber shop, my father's barber shop, my uncle's barber shop. It was owned by two men, Ben and Hal. It was called the Sportsman. And it was a fun time to go there because Ben always gave me Bazooka Joe gum afterwards, and there were comic books that I could read. And I was excited at the idea of getting a haircut. Wanting to be responsible, I thought to myself, I know how to get there. I'll just go after class. It seems to me that my parents are having a hard time figuring out who would be responsible for this, and so I'll just get rid of the worry. After my karate class the following day, I was all sweaty in my gi and I went to the door and I bowed out like I had been taught and then left. I went around the corner to the Sportsman and walked right in, the bell ringing as I entered. There were already two people in the chairs, and so I needed to wait my turn. So I walked over to the seat and I plopped myself in after having grabbed myself some Green Lantern and Superman and Archie comics, and I began to read and wait for my turn. I had hoped it would be Ben, who was a tall barber with poofy black hair and glasses and smiled a lot. But instead, I got Hal, who was much shorter, very clean shaven, and had white hair. And he was like, "Well, come on, what are you getting?" And I said, "I'm getting a regular haircut." It's what I always got. And I think he kind of knew that. So I sat in the chair with the booster seat up as he put the bib around my neck and began to go to work. Snip, 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 snip. After what seemed probably much longer at the time than it really was, he undid the bib and snapped it out, hair going on the floor, and saying, "All right, well, then, sir, that's $5." And he put his hand out. I was in my gi. I had no wallet clearly on me, and I didn't even think that we were going to need to pay for this transaction. So I kind of looked around and was like, I don't have $5, Hal. I'm sorry. And he laughed, and I think he knew that when he let me into the chair. And so he handed me the broom and said, "Well, then, you can sweep until your parents get here." And I did. I began to sweep the floor, and my mom came through the door. She had her eyes like this big, clearly, clearly upset. "John, what are you doing here?" she yelled at me. And I'm like, "I'm getting my hair cut. What else do you do in a barber shop, Mom?" And to her relief, she began to laugh, realizing that I must have overheard. And she reached into her purse and she paid Hal. And he gave me gum that time, a little Bazooka Joe with the comic strips on the inside. And I left. And it was then that I realized how important it was to have people in your community that you see often, that you work with honestly, and that you can enjoy the company of. I would go back to Ben and Hal at the Sportsman for years and years. And as a grown up, I no longer live in a small town like that, but I still go to my barber to get, the beard trimmed up, not so much on top anymore. But when I do go, I always remember their name and I always bring cash. The end. Thank you.